BeastNet podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Hey everybody, Mike with BeastNet here, and on this episode I got with us Aaron and Molly from Terrapin Events. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. So tell us a little bit about your events. I know we were just talking about before we started that I actually just signed up for one of them. So tell us a little about what your events are. I know you've got the OCR ones, the mud ones, but I know you have more than that too. So yeah, let everyone kind of know what it's involved.
Right now, we have two events open. They are called the My Muddy Valentine and the Dirty Leprechaun. So those are the mud runs we were discussing. Mm-hmm. Both of those are, kind of themed. The Muddy Valentine is aimed more towards couples and kind of a Valentine's themed event. And then Dirty Leprechaun is kind of a good St. Patrick's Day celebration. So both those are 5K, 10K mud runs. They're both on the property of Lee Farms, which is a really beautiful farm and terrain. So it's, people get really muddy too. It's also an obstacle course run as well. And right now we are in the process of trying to figure out the rest of our schedule as well. With Oregon restrictions and the pandemic, live events are going to be coming back very slowly. So right now we just have our two mud runs open currently.
Yeah, right now, it's a lot easier to do an event on private property than it is to go through the city of Portland or whatever and go through that red tape to get permits and all that fun stuff. Although we are working with everybody and, we're working with the City of Portland Licensing Bureau and we're working with Portland Parks and Rec and stuff like that and giving them essentially what our plan for safety is and kind of how we're going to social distance everybody until hopefully that doesn't become a thing anymore. And so we're just kind of working through all that, but we do have tentatively scheduled, we have our Cinco de Mayo race, which is a Cinco de Mayo themed event. We have a Father's Day event called Grateful Dad. We have our annual Run Like Hell, which is Halloween. Our biggest event, Bridge to Bruise, is typically scheduled for April, but we're trying to move that to September, which we planned on doing a couple years ago, and then we never did. But now it just makes sense to move it to September, and hopefully by then we can do, exactly what we want to do, which is a, multiple day beer festival. We always have a 1-day beer festival tied on to that event, but we'd like to expand it to like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event with the race also involved in it. So that's where we're going, but it's hard because even in a normal year, it'd be hard to do stuff like that. But now just kind of a whole bunch of hurry up and wait and not really knowing what the heck is happening, but we're still moving forward as if everything is happening, whether it's, very social distanced and, really trying to put in those protocols to keep people safe, or, maybe things get better and, the vaccine really works and everybody is healthy and we can move forward sort of more normal. So.
Now those other events that you mentioned, the Muddy Valentine and Muddy Leprechaun,
Dirty Leprechaun, but yes,
those are the mud ones. The other ones they're just normal running events, correct?
They are. Most of them are half marathon, 10K, 5K. Bridge to Bruise is a
10K, 8K.
Yeah, I forget. It's been a while. Yeah. And then we have some other events that we actually do. We do one called the River Lantern Lighting, which has nothing to do with running or anything like that. And then we also we were going to do last year in August, Barbecue and Brews, which was going to be like a beer and barbecue festival that never made it off the ground, but we do plan on doing that in August this year. So a couple of, non-running events.
That's awesome. So what made you guys kind of decide to start doing these? Because I know you've been doing the muddy ones for a while. Those were the ones that I really knew about because I was really into the OCR side and running, mud. but like I said, I haven't got a chance to get down there before, but this year I'm making an effort to make sure I get down there for both of those. I have to kind of go for the Muddy Valentine. I've already paid for it. So,
Right.
so
You'll enjoy that.
Oh, that's what I've heard. I've heard they're great ones. It just, I can't remember. I mean, every year there always seem to be something because my wife doesn't run. So
Right.
it's kind of one of those things. A lot of those, it's like, normally there was another run that we did up here, like was a tradition that we do a 5K together, and it always seemed to fall on the same day because it was a Valentine themed one. So, but
Sure.
this year they're not doing it. So I don't have that excuse. So I get to come down and check it out.
Does your business need first aid, AED, OSHA, flagging, or other safety training? James Safety Services is your one-stop shop. Find them on Facebook today at James Safety Services WA and ask for a quote on hosting your training needs.
So what made you guys decide to start doing these?
Well, so I started, almost 20 years ago. I just really wanted to do something for the community. I loved just being involved in the community, and I loved running. I like drinking beer. I like live music. So kind of thinking of, let's bring these three elements together: the running community, music, and some beer. And, this is a while back. There wasn't a ton of craft beers. Running events didn't have beer at the end of their races, and there really wasn't live music. It was typically, play a little bit of music, maybe, run, get your t-shirt, get your bagel, go home. And I wanted to kind of make it a little more fun. I actually, in case you can't tell, I'm from like upstate New York.
Yeah, I saw the buffalo there, and I wouldn't say anything.
Back in the day, when I was in high school and college and stuff, we always would talk about the Boilermaker, which was an event back there, and it was just this crazy fun community event where everyone came out and ran and drank beer, and the community came out. And I kind of based Terrapin Events on that, on let's bring people out to have some fun, be healthy, but drink some beer and meet people. And once I did my first event, it was just addictive. It was just, I got to do this again and think of new ideas. And so through the years, just thinking of different ideas, fun ideas, again, to bring the community out and just have some fun. And, the mud runs, the OCR community is, relatively new to us. I mean, we've been doing these for like 7 years, and that's a wonderful community. I mean, it's such a cool community. And those guys have come out. I mean, Molly can tell, like, the amount of work that we put in to produce those two events, and the amount of support that we get from the OCR community is amazing. So
yeah, we're very passionate about doing the obstacle events, and they travel all over the country and do those. But yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, and we'll give a shout out to Lorenzo and Taylor and Jeremy for that, and many other people, but definitely the driving force of getting people out there and helping us repair obstacles and set up the course, et cetera, et cetera. They're really awesome.
Yeah, they are good guys. I know all three of those guys. So yeah, they're really good guys. I've done a lot with them in the past and some stuff. So I love those guys. So
Molly's been on. You've been on a few years now. How long you been here?
I actually looked the other day, and I think it's been 3.5 years.
Okay. So, and she's been wonderful. She's awesome.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Well, one thing I want to say about like the obstacle runs and the OCR is, I feel like there are a lot of competitive people that do it, but it's also something that anybody of any skill can do. I think a lot of people do get intimidated because it says obstacle course. They've seen some of those that people jump through fire and they get electrocuted and all that. Ours is definitely not that intense, but we do also have some challenging obstacles on there, but also some we give you the option to skip any if you don't feel comfortable. But we see people of all different abilities, shapes, and sizes do these events, so it's definitely open to all skill levels too.
Yeah. We usually have the OCR guys. They always come up with one new, challenging, fun obstacle to add each year, and those are always by far the hardest.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
the guys that you mentioned, they've got some evil brains. So,
Yeah.
So what, I mean, you kind of mentioned, but what really made you decide to do the OCRs? I mean, because it sounds like, I get the idea, because the idea of the running and the beer, that was one thing. The first event that I did, they're like, you can run and then have a beer, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, then I'm there. And then there was that, and then I did another one where they gave out donuts, and I'm like, okay, can I just have the donut, not do the run? But so what made you decide to suddenly throw the mud in there and start doing those?
So this is a good story, I think. So my buddy Kyle and I, we were running partners. Wintertime, go for runs in Forest Park and do some trail runs, etc. And it really started with him joking about, because again, we have all these kind of funny names for our events, Run Like Hell, the Halloween themed, Grateful Dad being, Terrapin Events, Grateful Dad, being a little, throw to the Grateful Dead. But we were running and he just said, man, you should do a mud run called My Muddy Valentine and do it on Valentine's Day. And I said, that is a great idea. I said, I'm going to take that if you're okay with that. And he said, yeah, go for it. And so it actually took a couple of years for us to find a venue. We were having a hard time finding a venue, and we were originally just going to do a straight mud run, like a trail run. And then we started thinking about it, and I think it was really like OCR. I mean, again, maybe it was bigger than I knew what it was at that point, but it seemed like it was getting pretty big. So we just decided, once we found Lee Farms, and Lee Farms, an awesome partner, and they were just kind of like, you can do whatever the heck you want out here, build whatever you want. And we were like, okay. So we started building obstacles, and there we were, and so we did My Muddy Valentine the first year, and then a person that's no longer with us, but great guy, he said, we go through all this time and effort to put together all these obstacles and to make sure everything's good. We put up showers, warm showers for everybody, and we build changing rooms, et cetera, et cetera. Said, why don't we try to find another idea in March and keep everything up, so we get a little more bang for our buck, rather than putting it up for one event and tearing it back down after spending literally months, putting stuff up.
Yeah.
And so that's when we came up with the Dirty Leprechaun. And so we have those two events, and then we're gone. Then we're gone into our road running season right after that. So.
Yeah. And people always ask me, they always say, like, because we normally do like 9-10 events a year. Everyone always asks me, like, what's your favorite event? I always say the mud runs, and a big reason of that is it's nice to just like not have to deal with, the city and having to set up or, anything with like the streets, parking. It's just nice having kind of a property where we can kind of do whatever creative things we want to do, leave things set up. Whereas like a road race or something downtown, it's like you got to get in, get out that day.
It's much more relaxed out there on the farm. It's not a cliche. It's pretty chill.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it's good to have a partner like that you can work with, where you can set it up and over time, where, yeah, I could see the street ones. Yeah, it's pretty much, I've done a lot of the street races where I've ran them, and it's like, okay, you got to be done by this time because we got to have everything off the street.
Yeah.
And I've worked for fence companies where, we were, hired to come in and pull stuff off. And it was pretty much like, you've got to be here at this time because our permit ends at this. Everything's got to be clear. So I could see the stress would be a lot less when you have the farm like that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So,
do you like the BeastNet? Do you want to keep hearing it? Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at BeastNet Pod.
So do you have, I mean, I know this year's an odd year because like you mentioned, with the COVID restrictions and all of that. Do you have plans if you can't do the road races? I mean, do you guys have any virtuals? I noticed that the Muddy Valentine was a virtual option. Are you going to do more of those virtually throughout the year? Or?
Yeah. So last year, we actually were about 2 days away from Dirty Leprechaun when, like the stay-at-home orders got were announced. So since then, we kind of transitioned everything to virtual, which was totally new to us. We weren't sure, you know, like how, if people were still going to sign up, like how the whole virtual thing worked. And so last year we you know, kind of came up with new themes. We just got done doing like a New Year's one. We did like a coast challenge one where people kind of, you know, travel the distance of the coast. So we definitely had to like kind of put our creativity in motion and come up with some fun themes. And we definitely had a lot of support from our community. And what's nice is like people from literally anywhere in the US, Canada, we had people from like Taiwan do our event. So it's nice that you can kind of open it up to not just Portland. So we did that all last year, and we're going to continue to do that this year as well. We actually, for the Muddy Valentine and Dirty Leprechaun, do have virtual events or virtual options available. So people can, you know, go out in Forest Park or go out on a trail and, you know, do a 5K and 10K. And if they're not comfortable, you know, coming to an event yet, and we just, you know, will mail their items to them. So we definitely are going to continue to do virtual options this year as well.
Yeah, and for those two, like, you don't have to run on a trail or whatever, but we're encouraging people just to make it a little more fun, get muddy, you know, in the spirit.
That's the whole idea of them. It's the spirit.
Yeah, and I would prefer to run on a trail anyways if I had the opportunity. So
It's a lot less impactful on your knees if you run on the trail, not asphalt. I know that's been my thing. I spent this last year. I made a goal and I run 100 miles a month, and that's you know, since May I've hit every month. So this month I may have to start speeding up a little bit here because I've been kind of slacking since the first. But it's been I think my body needed a break for a couple of weeks. So, but yeah, so it's definitely, I like the trails.
But yeah, so we are going to do virtual options, and we'll continue to do, you know, some of the virtual events that we came up with this past year. We may as well keep doing them, make them annual events. Again, we did one called the Oregon Coast Challenge. We did pumpkin pie, which was our Thanksgiving themed, and we did like an ugly sweater run. And we joke there's one we don't ever want to do again, and it's the 2020 New Year's run. Hopefully I can say that on here. But we did a New Year's run called 2020. And
the reference 2020, you can use that word.
But you know, that's one we don't ever want to do again. We don't want to do 2021.
No.
We want to do like hooray 2021. And
yes, hopefully this year's a lot better. I know a lot of people are already having issues, but we're only 12 days in. There's still, you know, a lot of year to turn it around.
Yeah, we're not out of the clear yet, but you know, there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel, and
I think so. I think there is. It's going to be some changes. Things are going to be different, but I mean, it's been one of those things: adapt and move on. That's kind of become my theme for the year. You know, the last year basically is adapt and move on. It is what it is. There's a lot of things that we can't change. So, you know, you either, you know, die on the side of the road or adapt and keep going. And that's kind of been my motto this year. So, good to see a lot of companies like you guys. I mean, I'm a safety professional, so I do a lot of teaching and stuff like that. So staring at this screen and talking to people is pretty much what I've done for quite often, because that's a lot of my classes are now. And a lot of the committees that I'm on that I'm supposed to go to and stuff like that are on Zoom now. So it's, you know, it's adapt and move forward. So it's good to see you guys doing it, you know, the virtual options and move forward. I know I've talked to a few people who don't like virtual ideas, and they're like, it's not the same thing. And it's like, no, it's not, but it's something to motivate us and keep us moving forward. I mean, it's something to kind of keep that, you know, that competitive nature going, that, you know, so we can keep going. So I like the virtual options. I've been doing, you know, that's pretty much what's kept me going all year was virtual options. So
and we're trying to make ours fun and have, you know, a theme to them. The Oregon Coast Challenge one, people loved it, and we did these really cool postcards. The race, you know, quote unquote, started in Brookings and it went up to Astoria, and there was little checkpoints along the way, and as you reach that checkpoint, we had these really cool postcards that we created. And so you got that postcard when you got to the checkpoint, and people loved that, you know. And again, you're right, like the virtual option, is great, but we would prefer to be doing live events, you know. And we did a survey, right? And I mean, you could probably talk about some of the results that came out on that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely, kind of the start of this year with the vaccine coming out, people are very, very hopeful and definitely want to get out and do something. I think a lot of people are ready to get out and, just do any kind of event. But there's also, a lot of skepticism too of, what are going to be your safety protocols, what kind of things are you issuing? But I think it was definitely kind of 50-50 of people are ready to get out there, but people also kind of want to see how the rest of this winter goes, beginning of spring and all that.
Yeah, a lot of people said to us, thanks for offering virtual options. And right now we just kind of prefer that. So, we're trying to give everybody something on their own comfort level, I guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is right now, because there's a lot of that of the, some people are completely okay with going to a live event already. Others are completely, still worried about everything that's going on, which is they're right. I mean, it's their right to be worried. I mean, people deal with things in different ways. So for me, I never realized what a social person I am until they're like, yeah, you can't go see people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. It's been something that kind of changed, but like I said, adapt and move forward. And that's been kind of it. And I really look forward to the live and seeing people. I've done a couple live events this year amazingly in Oregon.
Oh, wow.
But they were like out in the woods and it was only a few of us. And I mean, it was very limited people, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was good to see people again, because I haven't been able to see people in a long time.
What really gave us hope to doing live events, and we still weren't even sure, a month ago, right? We weren't really sure what we were going to do. Our timing company, who you might be familiar with, but Negative Split, I want to give a shout out to those guys, Ryan and Eric. They've actually been doing live events in Washington for months. Probably. Idaho, yeah. And, we've had a lot of discussions with them. We've had a lot of Zoom meetings with them, kind of going over what their protocols are and things like that. And they've showed us videos, and they've done 1,200 person events that have been completely safe. And you look at the video of those and people are happy, and it's awesome. So those guys kind of, I feel like have definitely been at the forefront of trying to get live running events back in the Pacific Northwest. So I want to give them a shout out, because that's what got us to where we are, where we said, okay, we're out in the middle of nowhere, we know we can do X amount of people, per minute or per 15-minute wave, and people are going to be safe. And, so those guys have been great. And that's what got us to say, okay, we're doing this. Let's do it. Because we were kind of back and forth. We'd look at each other. Are we going to do this? I don't know. Should we? I don't know. Like, how do people feel? I don't know. Did the survey and, got a good feel for how our participants feel, how the community feels. And then again, Ryan and Eric, those guys have been great helping us out.
That is awesome. So what is, so we can kind of tell, so the listeners, the ones that are thinking of doing this, what are your protocols going to be? So that we can make sure, that people are going to be safe. I know that you had them on if you go to register, they're right there, but
sure.
Just kind of let people know if they're curious, that they want to do it and they're like, what, and that they kind of give them that idea of how they will be safe.
Right.
Yeah, runner confidence is definitely something we've had to kind of discuss, because a lot of people got their races canceled last year, and they're very skeptical of like, am I going to lose money again? Is this going to get canceled again? So we knew we were kind of going up against that. So we've, done met with a lot of, or done a lot of Zoom meetings, watched a lot of webinars, just to kind of see what other people have done. And we've, kind of came up with our own protocols. And on our website, you can see everything that we're going to be doing for the events. We're requiring, just kind of the stuff that other places do of requiring masks. We're going to be spacing out the starting line of about 6 people every 3 minutes, kind of do like a rolling start. We're limiting the amount of people per waves. We're going to have sanitizing and hand washing stations, wellness checks, prepackaged snacks, and packet pickup before then. So just doing kind of everything to ensure that people aren't gathering, anything like that. And we understand, like the post-race party isn't going to be the traditional, hanging out by the bonfire, drinking a beer, all that. But we still have, elements of the post-race party, and are still, trying to find ways to still, bring that race feel to people, even though they're not, it's not as much as a camaraderie of, racing with thousands of people at one time. It's just, so
Right.
yeah, trying to kind of figure all that out has been a little bit of a challenge, but I think we've kind of got it down.
Yeah, so basically running through what I think the day would look like would be, you show up, let's say your wave time is, excuse me, 9:30. We ask that you don't show up more than pretty much 15 minutes before your wave. And then Lee Farms is huge. They have a huge parking area, so we can park lots of people and not have them be on top of each other. We're asking people to stretch and warm up near their vehicles. And then when you come through and you check in, it's ready race. So you don't have to wait, as long as there's not 5 or 6 people sitting, and there shouldn't be, because no one's hanging out, no one's hanging around.
Yeah.
So we're asking that you wear your mask, get up to the start line, and you go. Your chip starts when you go across the start line, and you run your race. And when you get back, come across the finish line. We have some toilets available and things like that, pre and post, and hand washing stations, like Molly said. And then pretty much you're gone. We're giving people a New Belgium Brewing tote bag with 2 beers in it if you're over 21. So 2 to-go beers with some food in there that we're providing. And then we also probably some energy drink and stuff pre and post. But it's basically go. And then, the next wave comes in, sort of thing. And we're just doing that throughout the day. And like Molly said, like the hand sanitizer, wearing a mask when you're not running. You don't have to wear a mask running, but maybe bring one with you, and just like we're all used to now. So you shouldn't really have to wait. There shouldn't really be a line for many of the obstacles, but there are, and people are starting to like kind of gather an obstacle. Either put your mask on or stand 6 feet apart, so, and that's what we're asking. We have signs everywhere, kind of typical type of thing. So yeah, and we're just asking people to be socially responsible too. If you're coming there, you gotta follow the rules.
You got to follow the rules, and that makes sense. I mean, it's one of those things that you just got to follow the rules. So
Right.
Perfect. And I like that. I know you did say that the packet pickup. So for everyone that does sign up, they have to pick up their packet beforehand. So
yeah, we've been a partner, or Roadrunner's been a sponsor of ours for a while. They're awesome. So we're going to have one day at the Portland location and then one at the Tualatin location. So basically you just go in, tell a staff member your name, they'll get your packet for you. So that will include like your bib, your shirt, your medal, all that good stuff. And then if you need to get any kind of supplies or new shoes or something like that from Roadrunner, they're there to help as well.
Don't wear your new shoes to this event.
Yeah, I guess not new shoes for the muddy event.
You can get new shoes. Don't wear them here.
Yeah, that's true.
And typically we've always done this, and I think it's even more important now. We always have allowed participants to pick up friends or families' packets. So if you might not live in the area, but maybe you have a friend that lives in the area that can come and pick up your packet for you, that's totally fine. So,
which, but I'm not there. I got to find someone in Oregon to go get my packet for me. So,
yeah. And, we're not going to be sticklers about it. If you absolutely can't make it in the packet pickup, you can get it the morning of. But again, we're trying to eliminate as much going on at the farm as possible. So
And it makes sense. I mean, it's one of those things that helps by, having it the day they can go to Roadrunner and pick it up. They have all day to go do it.
yeah,
Not everyone arriving at the same time in big groups of people. And I mean, it's just a
exactly.
responsible way to do it right now, where we're not supposed to be in giant groups. So it keeps people from, from that happening. So, and
Yeah.
I've been to enough races where, I mean, if it's all pick up that morning, there's no social distancing. It's a big long
no.
minutes. So
Yeah, it's nonstop line, for us, it's chaos. I mean, it really is. It's just trying to get everybody through the line before the race starts. And that's never fun for us, actually. So we prefer people to pick up their packet. That's why we do it, and we tell people that all the time. If you pick up your packet on Thursday or Friday or whatever, or Friday or Saturday prior to an event, it eliminates that chaos in the morning, and you can look at your stuff and I'm missing this, or my name is misspelled, or my age is wrong, or blah, blah, blah. It can all get done in a very calm and easy fashion. But if you wait to that morning, it's just chaos. So
it is. I agree. It's chaos. People are trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. They're trying to get the right spot. And I mean, it's one of those things, especially with social distancing, like you said, you want people 15 minutes before. You're not going to get that. If people have to pick up their packet, they're going to be worried that there's going to be a long line. So I'm going to show up an hour before my event. And then you got
exactly.
So I mean, it compounds everything. So I mean, it's a good plan. So I like it.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Is there anything else you want to tell anyone about your events, or anything else you want to let the listeners know?
We've put a lot of time and effort and money into, making these live events happen. We know how much people miss it. We know how much they want to get back out there. So we have worked really hard to put these together. So now we really kind of need the support of our community and people to come to these events. I know it's a lot of trust, that we're doing things safely, but safety is definitely our number one priority. And we're really excited to get back out there and to just offer something to people, as, kind of an escape of if they want to, do something fun for Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day. That's kind of why we do these events. So yeah, we're really excited to get back out there.
Yeah, without begging, we're really looking for support, because 2020 was rough. We basically limped through 2020, and having people, if you're feeling safe about coming to an event, then hopefully you come out and support us and do one of our events, because we definitely need the support to get through 2021. Because again, it's still not going to be the same. We're probably not going to have a 5,000 person Bridge to Bruise. Maybe, hopefully, but probably not. So,
if you guys can't get out to live events, sign up for the virtuals. So the virtuals are another way to keep you going, and it helps, the local small races. So
thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.